Hello everybody and welcome to my ultimate Vanilla Plus Minecraft Modpack, this time including Forge and client-side versions as well as Fabric. In this video I will make it completely clear what you'll miss out on and what you'll gain in both the Forge and Fabric versions, and what you can get with just client-side and what server-side adds on. Always make sure to check with the owner of the server if the client-side mods you're using are okay with them. I'm also happy to announce that my mod pack is now on CurseForge. It's called Genuine. I've got a link in the description below, and I'll have a client and server installation tutorial at the end of this video. If you've seen my previous video, feel free to skip around using the timecodes below because there will be a lot of repeat parts, but I think it will be very useful to have all the information together in this one video. So let's start with client-side mods that work for both Forge and Fabric. Ambient environment adds subtle color noise to all the foliage in the different biomes. Better third person makes it so your third person camera doesn't always have to follow where your character is looking. Better F3 adds a customizable F3 menu. Client tweaks makes it so you can auto climb a ladder just by looking up, and it makes it so when your shield is in your offhand, you don't see it unless you have a weapon equipped. Controlling adds a search bar for your keybinds, which can be extremely helpful. Eating animation gives you an awesome animation every time you eat something. Effective adds lots of cool effects. Enchantment descriptions tells you what enchantments are in the tooltips so you don't have to have them all memorized. Falling leaves adds some awesome falling leaves effects. GUI compass adds your coordinates on screen when you have a compass in your inventory. And GUI clock adds the time to your screen when there's a clock in your inventory. Easier villager trading makes it so if you just click this, then you automatically do the trade. Fresh animations now works on Fabric. And of course it already worked on Forge, thanks to someone who made a fork of it for Fabric, who I will link below. Inv move lets you walk around while you have your inventory open. Leave my bars alone lets you see your food and hunger bars when you're on a horse. Legendary tooltips adds fancy tooltips for rare items. Let sleeping dogs lie lets dogs lie down. Mouse tweaks lets you do things like shift left clicking to select multiple items of the same type. No chat report stops chat reporting when possible. Not enough animations adds some first person animations to third person. Nif spiders make spiders way more scary by letting them crawl on the side of things. Replanter lets you right click to harvest and replant seeds at the same time. Sound Physics Remastered adds a whole lot of simulated sound physics to the game, which can make caves a whole lot scarier. Shuffle lets you hit a hotkey to randomly place blocks from your hotbar. Simple Voice Chat adds a directional voice chat to Minecraft. Smooth Swapping adds a cool animation when you swap items. Traveler's Titles adds a title when you enter a biome. Visuality adds some cool new visual effects like raindrop splashes. Wavy Capes gives capes a waving animation. What's That Slot lets you hold Alt over a slot to see what items you have that can go there. YDM's Weapon Master lets you see the weapons and tools you have in your inventory on your character. Now it's time for the mods that work on both Forge and Fabric, but do need to be on the server. Amplified Nether extends the world height of the Nether to 256 blocks and makes the Nether look absolutely amazing. Another furniture mod adds some simple vanilla themed furniture. Apple Skin adds some helpful overlays. Aquatic Torches adds torches that you can make from glow squids and then place underwater. Axes are weapons lets you get looting on axes, and makes axes lose less durability when you're using them in combat. Bedspreads lets you make a custom bed by adding any banner to it. Even though the texture for it is invisible, still works. The Comforts mod gives you hammocks, which let you sleep through the day until it becomes night, and also sleeping bags, which let you sleep without resetting your spawn point. Customizable Elytra lets you apply a banner pattern to an Elytra, and check that out. Diagonal Fences adds diagonal fences. Chromatic Doors adds 3-block tall door variants. Dusk makes more mobs spawn at night. Easy Anvils gives you free renaming, makes the item you work on appear on the surface, and stay there if you leave. Easy Magic lets you keep your lapis lazuli and your tool on the enchanting table, and it gives you a reroll button that costs some XP, but lets you reroll without enchanting a wooden sword. Easy Shulker Boxes lets you put stuff into a Shulker box just by right-clicking on it in your inventory, and it lets you see what's inside of your Shulker box from your inventory. It also lets you take things out by left-clicking the Shulker box. Emote Craft gives you emotes you can map to a wheel and trigger whenever you like. And Remastered is my favorite. Makes it so you have to go to every cool place in the game, like witch huts or jungle temples. You need each of the eyes that you find to be specific to open the end portal, which means you have to explore a whole bunch of places to get to the end. Fabrication and Forgery has a whole bunch of tweaks. Some of the best ones are you can hold C to go prone instead of crushing yourself with a trapdoor. You can repair an anvil by control right-clicking on it with an iron block, and you can remove a saddle even from a pig or a strider by control right-clicking. Fabrication also makes it so you can break slabs individually. Furnace Recycle makes it so you can get some metal back by melting down metallic items. Gilded armor lets you upgrade netherite items with gold so that piglins won't get mad at you in the nether. Easy breeding lets animals breed by just throwing their food on the ground. Elytra slot lets you put an elytra on your back when you already have a chest plate on, and it's compatible with customizable elytra. Thank you to Quizako for recommending this. Geophilic adds some small improvements to biome generation like fallen logs, and trees naturally generate taller so that you hit your head less often, which I really appreciate. Jumpy boats lets you jump in boats so that in situations like this, you can just jump right over. Leaves Be Gone makes floating leaves evaporate way faster, so you don't need to worry about floating leaves in your world. Nether Portal Spread makes nether portals spread nether blocks into the overworld. Nullscape adds some cool new terrain to the end. Paintings Plus Plus lets you choose what painting you want. Progressive Bosses makes bosses more difficult every time you fight them. Quicksand adds quicksand to the game. Rare Ice lets you find cool items in ice. With regrowth, animals actually eat grass, and villagers improve their villages. This is a fence around the village that the villagers actually built. River Redux makes rivers much more fun to explore by reducing the times that they're cut off by land and making them wider. Universal Bone Meal lets you bone meal plants who usually can't. Vanilla Tweaks adds a lot of things, including the ability to edit signs, lets you pick up a mob spawner with Silk Touch, lets you swap armor with an armor stand by control right-clicking, and more. Visual Workbench lets what you're working on stay on the workbench and lets you see it. Young's Better Desert Temples, Dungeons, Mineshafts, Ocean Monuments, Strongholds, Witch Huts, and Bridges, and extras add a ton of really cool vanilla-style structure remasters to the game. Now it's time for mods where the same mod does not work on Forge and Fabric, but there is a good alternative for both. Client-side first. Advancement info gives you a couple charts that you can see all your advancements in, including which ones you have and which ones you don't have yet. Advancement Tracker is a Forge alternative. Charmonium adds all sorts of extra ambient sounds like birds chirping in the background. Ambient Sounds 5 is an alternative for both Fabric and Forge, but since I prefer Charmonium, that's the one I included in the Fabric pack. Disable Custom Worlds advice gives you less but most notably, it adds an epic echoing sound in caves. Dynamic FPS makes Minecraft's frame rate go lower when it's in the background. FPS Reducer is a Forge alternative. Horse Stats Vanilla lets you see how fast a horse is by control right-clicking. Horse Statistics is a Forge alternative. Advanced Tooltip shows you some helpful info in your tooltips. Tooltip Tweaks also adds more information to tooltips. Quark provides a Forge alternative. Inventory Hot Swap lets you hold Alt to switch between items in your current column, or Control Alt to switch between entire rows. Inventory Hot Swap should work for Fabric and Forge, but unfortunately it does not work for Forge 1.19.2. An alternative that is unfortunately not quite as good is Quark. With Quark you press Z, and then 1, 2, or 3 to switch between different rows. Unfortunately you cannot scroll between them though. Camera Utils gives you a custom third-person camera that you can make into an over-the-shoulder camera. Shoulder Surfing Reloaded is a Forge alternative that also gives you an over-the-shoulder camera. And now Surfer Side. Scout adds simple backpacks that actually expand your inventory. Backpacked is a Forge alternative that unfortunately does not show up on your back with these mods, but it lets you press a hotkey to access an extra row for your inventory. Snow Real Magic adds a lot of cool improvements to snow. It is for both Fabric and Forge, but I could not get it to work with this mod pack. So an alternative is Layered Snowfall, which adds layered snowfall in cold biomes. Enchanted Vertical Slabs adds vertical slabs to the game, although unfortunately you can't break them individually. A Forge alternative is Quark, which works in pretty much exactly the same way. Charm adds a ton of little things, including an atlas, and it makes it so double doors open at the same time. A Forge alternative for this is once again Quark. Though it does not have an atlas, it does let you open double doors. Carry On lets you shift click to pick up a chest, and it slows you down, but you can carry it with you and move all your items without having to reorganize them all over again. Carrier is a Fabric alternative that doesn't work quite as well, but still works. Now it's time for the Fabric-only mods. These are the mods that you will get if you choose the Fabric version, and that you will miss out on if you choose the Forge version. Client side first. Auditory adds some new block sounds to the game. Extra Sounds adds all sorts of sounds to your UI. Hold that chunk delays client chunk unloading, which can help you get a better view distance when on servers. Interactic makes items fall more realistically on the ground, lets you right-click to pick them up, and hold Q to throw them farther. Some features of Interactic work client-side. Keybinds Galore makes it so that if you have multiple keybinds mapped to one key, you can just hold that key and get this menu, and then choose which one you want with your mouse. More chat history gives you access to more of your chat history. You can even scroll. Mouse Wheelie lets you middle click to sort your inventory. No Fade removes some fading animations so you can get to your game faster. Status Effect Timer adds a timer to your status effects to let you know how long you have left. Visual Overhaul adds some awesome new visuals to furnaces and jukeboxes. And now server side. Cammy's minecart tweaks makes it so you can connect minecarts with chains. And also, Furnace minecarts go much faster. Connectable chains makes it so you can connect chains between two different fence posts. Diagonal panes lets you make diagonal panes of glass. Mobs attempt parkour lets mobs jump when trying to reach you. Poor villagers. More banner features lets you place a banner below something, wear a banner as a cape, and more. Simple shelves add some simple shelves to Minecraft. Wandering collector lets you trade with the wandering trader for items that you previously lost. I lost a spawner earlier. Now it's time for the mods that only work on Forge, that you will get if you choose the Forge pack, but that you will miss out on if you choose the Fabric pack. Glide side first. Pop adds cool bubble popping animations and sound effects, as well as the things already mentioned. Quark also adds a lot of other client side features, including the ability to search chests. For example, I can just click this button, and I can search cobble, and there's everything with cobble in the name. And a crafting queue system. For example, if I want to craft a sticky piston, but I don't know how to craft a normal piston, I can right click and there's the recipe for a normal piston. You can also stop minecarts from being so loud by putting the rails on wool. And now server side. Quark also has a lot of other server side tweaks, including that you can make villagers follow you if you're holding a block of emerald. And horses can swim instead of just sinking. Also lets you pet dogs by sneak right clicking. Customized dungeon loot adds cool names to items that you find in structures to add a bit of storytelling to the game. Domestication innovation lets you set your pet to wander, lets you make pet beds, and lets you tame foxes, axolotls, frogs, and rabbits. Horse combat controls lets you hit a key where instead of having to aim where your horse is facing, you can aim wherever you like. Mounted pearl lets you bring your horse with you when you throw an ender pearl. Multi-mine saves your progress when mining a block so that if you accidentally misclick while mining obsidian, you don't have to start all over. And it slowly fades over time. Only looking makes it so mobs can't see you unless they're actually facing towards you. Realistic explosion physics actually moves blocks when explosions happen. Snow under trees makes it so snow spawns under trees. Much more realistic. With tinted campfires, you can apply dye to a campfire to get tinted fire and smoke. Throwable explosives makes it so if you have flint and steel in your offhand, and then left click at the air, you can throw TNT. Another thing to keep in mind when you're deciding between the Fabric and Forge versions is that Fabric has much better performance because of sodium, lithium, indium, iris, and starlight. The Forge version uses Optifine, which also improves performance from the vanilla game, but is not nearly as good as the Fabric mods performance-wise. Finally, these are the performance-heavy mods that I mentioned in my last video that you can skip out on if you're having difficulties with performance. An alternative to Interactic is Drops, which has way cooler physics, but unfortunately does not let you throw your items very far. Drops should work for both Forge and Fabric, but unfortunately I could not get it to work in this Forge mod pack. Also, unfortunately, with drops, you cannot right-click on an item to pick it up. The physics mod adds ragdolls, weather particles, and if you're willing to pay for the premium version, a dynamic ocean, dynamic cloth, dynamic blocks like vines, and even dynamic snow and smoke. You can also use it to add interactive block particles. Keep in mind that there can be some issues with physics ragdoll and fresh animations, so you might have to choose between the two. I would choose fresh animations every time. And this is immersive portals, where a portal is just straight up a doorway, and you can go in and out as you please with no loading screens. Immersive Portals is not compatible with Iris 1.5 unfortunately, at least with Minecraft version 1.19.2, but if your preferred shader works with Iris 1.4 and you can handle the performance hit, Immersive Portals is definitely worth adding. Finally, there's just some mods that these mods depend on. I recommend complementary shaders, the Weed Eater resource pack, and another vanilla PBR for the 1.19 textures that Weed Eater does not support. And I have my settings linked in the description. I recommend using AT Launcher. It is open source and very easy to use. Here's how to install my pack. Now that it's on CurseForge, just go to Packs, select CurseForge, search Genuine, there it is. Press New Instance, name it whatever you like, and make sure to select the version that you want. Choose server side if you want to use mods that are required to be installed on the server too, or client side if you want to be able to join a vanilla server. Let's do Fabric server side and install. When it's done loading, just go back to instances, and there it is. If you want to remove some of the mods, you can just select them and press disable or remove. It might say there's an update available, but click no because I don't know why it says that. Finally, click the links in the description corresponding to your version, press open folder on your instance, then add those downloads to the folders it says in the description. Now here's how to set up a server. Go to Vanilla Packs, 19.2, select Fabric or Forge, depending on your version of the mod pack, then select Fabric 14.10 or Forge 43.2.0, press Create Server, go to Servers, open folder, double-click EULA, change false to true, save, keep this window open, go back to the instances, press open folder for the genuine instance. This is the genuine instance, this is the server. Just click mods, control-click configs, drag them both over here, and hold control so you copy and not move. Config will be added. and all these mods will be added to the mod folder, and you're good. Just go ahead and launch when you want to run the server, and you can join with any instance that has those same mods. Then you can go ahead and press multiplayer, direct connection, and if you're connecting to your own server, you can type localhost. If your friends are connecting to your server, give them your IP address. You might need to port forward it for them to be able to connect, and that's it. Now you can just enjoy your server. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.